It's the Shrink Fashion Show. Got to show the new pants off here I got for Christmas here. They are the, what's his name there? The guard on the Warriors there. Steph Curry Under Armour training pants. Man, are they freaking sweet, guys. For going to the gym, they got that taper. And then they got that wicked, it's not a zipper, but it's the logo and the aesthetic. And you can't have anything other than zipper pockets, man. You gotta have zipper pockets on your clothes. Getting harder and harder to find. Because why? Because it costs more, right? I don't want crap falling out of my jacket pockets. They go back here. Right up against the rack here. Gives us size of the hallway room people think it is when it isn't. But, you know, when I started this journey many decades ago, you know, it started out with the Ghetto Blaster, right? But even back then, because my dad used to listen to music, it was the, the JVC Ghetto Blasters were the thing back then, right? And I'd sit up there. I remember listening to, the Van Halen 1 album, the Yngwie Malmsteen, the Diary of a Madman, the Blizzard of Oz, Black Sabbath, Master Reality, over and over and over again. I just couldn't get enough of those albums, right? And, then the upgrade for the Ghetto Blasters came. Next was the Sony, and when the compact disc came out in, I believe, 86, they came out with these portable Walkmans, right? Which were, about as big as a CD. And I saw that and I just had to have it. And they were so expensive back then. But they had the RCAs at the back. So I could plug those in to the back of the Ghetto Blaster. It had the RCAs. And I love that little setup. And I started accumulating a ton of CDs. And I was a naughty boy back then. So they were accumulating quite quickly. That's as far as I'll go with that. But, it escalated. It continued and continued. And then, when I bought my first, what I would say, higher end audio was the Cyrus equipment. And I still am a fan of the brand. And it's not cheap and it doesn't sell well on the used market, guys, but it sounds great. And I will say that today, it sounds great. I love the shoebox size. I love the build quality. It's wonderful equipment. I think what I had was the power supply with the stereo power amp. And then I think I was bi-amping or something like that. But anyways, so I had this mindset that I started to learn that, okay, it's best to have a piece of equipment that has basically a single purpose. I don't want you to jump ahead to where I'm at now. A single purpose, because if you're not using any of the other features, it's a waste of money. And I still have that mindset if I was, behaving in the same way audio-wise, right? Which I don't anymore. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other. That's not what the video is about. So that's what I tell people, because there's a lot of devices now that, streamers, for instance. It's funny that when you're playing around in the lower price points, they use, the lower price points or from the higher end brands, you're always going to get an internal DAC. So for instance, Inuus has the Zen Mini. It has an internal DAC. The Pulse Mini has an internal DAC. And I've had them here, and to be honest, they're afterthoughts. And this isn't a blow to my favorite streamer brand. They're just not good, guys, the DACs. So there's a reason why as you go up the line, they become dedicated streamers only, right? With a top-of-the-line internal power supply, which is a very, very important part of our gear, guys. I can't stress it enough. It's funny, and then all these budget streamers, they have built-in DACs as well. So if you have the money, I'm telling you right now to leave the DAC out. Like if you're on this journey that's going to take you a long, long time still to find what you're looking for, I'm sure there's streamers that have a DAC internally that sound amazing, but they're going to be expensive as well. But I always say just have components, you know, maybe a bare bone integrated, bare bone phono stage, bare bone streamer, right? And DAC. So you got four boxes there. So that's going to be hard to get to a place where you're happy with all of them. And you're never going to be 100% happy. I'm sorry to break the news to you. If you are a so-called audiophile who's been doing this thing for decades, you've crossed that line in the sand. You have to accept that you are not going to be happy. So you're going to live in this fantasy land thinking that you're going to find it. Well, you're not. And that's okay. You just have to come to the contentment, right, factor, right? So that's my suggestion. Like I say, it's taken me over 25, 30 years to arrive to the bel canto because I never thought it was possible to have a device that would do everything to my taste, and it does. So maybe you'll never get there. Maybe you have bias towards these devices that are supposed to do everything at reference level, and that's okay. And you can go ahead and think like that, but you cannot until you actually have it in your room, right? And maybe you never will, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is if you haven't, you know, the bias is there and you're this so-called purist, leave all these little features. I even went right down to the inputs. So when I had the Zen MK3, which is a fantastic streamer, it's in the midline of the Inuus, where you would have to spend 10 grand to get this much improvement. I never go for those. I always go for the one that's at the sweet spot. And all it offers is USB, and some may not like that. And I understand because I don't believe that USB is the best sound when it comes to digital. But anyway, so what did I do? I went to one of the pioneers of USB, and I got a USB only DAC. So I'm not paying for any other inputs that I'm not using because there's no use. The streamer doesn't offer it. So what would I get? The Air. I'm a big fan of Air. It's just too expensive, their gear. They're all over the used market. Air is superb equipment. I love everything about it. So I had the QB9. Then I got the QB9 DSD. Then I got the QB920. And it's a cult classic DAC, the QB9. So basically, they have their own proprietary USB it was just error free. There was never any little pops during sample rate changes. There was no, like I say, guys, you have to go right down to the nitty gritty, man, of digital. It's not a plug and play and all is well. It's just not, man. The handshake has to be right with your devices. So I've had high-end DACs there was some little noises going on with the sample rate changes and, you know, that kind of stuff. But like I say, I'm just saying that's what I do. If I have separates, it's going to be one function, dedicated, purpose-built components working together, right? Turntable, phono stage, separate DAC, separate streamer only, even right down to the inputs. As little as possible if you're not using them, right? So I think this is a great video, educative video, and just mostly my opinion here. But I'd like to see what other people say. Once again, guys, thanks so much for the support. It keeps coming. The love, you guys keep showing it. You know, it's basically a quality over quantity channel. The family that I've built continue to return and contribute in many, many ways to help others. So, you know, my mind has always remained open in this hobby so I can continue to learn. But I just got fed up and thought, hey, man, what's the use having all this knowledge and just keeping it to myself? Why not let it out to the world? So anyways, guys, Happy New Year. Shrink loves you. Like and subscribe. Cheers.